My name is Liana Carter. I'm 28 years old, and what I witnessed one evening completely changed the way I see relationships forever. It started as a simple dinner plan. I had been feeling the distance growing between me and my husband for months. Work had taken over our lives, conversations had turned into quick exchanges, and the warmth we once shared felt like it was slipping away. So that night, I suggested we go out, just the two of us, no distractions. He looked surprised at first, then gave me a genuine smile I hadn't seen in a while. That alone made me feel like I had made the right decision. We chose a quiet, elegant restaurant known for its soft lighting and intimate atmosphere. The place was filled with couples enjoying their time together, the gentle hum of conversations blending with slow music in the background. It felt peaceful, almost like stepping into a different world. We were seated at a corner table, away from the crowd. For the first time in what felt like forever, we weren't talking about deadlines or responsibilities. Instead, we laughed about old memories, our early days, silly arguments, and the little things that once meant everything. At one point, he reached across the table and held my hand. It was such a simple gesture, yet it stirred something deep inside me. That moment reminded me of my parents. They had always been that kind of couple, still affectionate, still connected even after decades together. Growing up, I believed their kind of love was unbreakable. And then everything shifted. As I casually glanced around the room, my eyes landed on a nearby table. At first, I didn't think much of it, but something felt oddly familiar. I looked again, more carefully this time. My breath caught in my throat. Sitting there, under the soft glow of candlelight, was my father, holding another woman's hand. For a second, I couldn't process what I was seeing. My chest tightened, my fingers went cold, and a quiet no slipped from my lips. My husband noticed immediately and asked what was wrong, but I couldn't even form words. I just pointed. He turned, saw the same thing, and went completely still. It didn't make sense. My father wasn't that kind of man. He loved my mother deeply. Everyone knew it. Their relationship had always been the standard I believed in. But there he was, smiling at someone else. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone. I didn't even fully think it through. I just started recording. I needed proof, maybe even for myself. When I stopped, I stared at the video for a moment before sending it to my mother with a short message. "You need to see this." After that, all we could do was wait. Every second felt heavier than the last. My eyes kept darting between my phone and my father's table. There was no response. No sign. Just silence stretching endlessly. And then the restaurant door opened. I looked up, and there she was. My mother stood at the entrance, scanning the room until her gaze locked onto him. She didn't rush. She didn't shout. She simply walked forward, each step calm but firm, her presence commanding attention without a single word. When my father finally looked up and saw her, everything changed. His smile disappeared instantly. His hand slipped away from the other woman's. The silence around them became suffocating. My mother stopped at the table and spoke in a low, steady voice, asking where he had really been all this time. Her words weren't loud, but they carried pain, disappointment, and something deeper, betrayal. She spoke about the distance, the late nights, the way he had slowly disappeared from her life. Her voice trembled as she admitted how she had tried to justify it all, telling herself he was just busy, just tired. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at the woman sitting there. She said she had given everything, her time, her love, her life, and that she had trusted him completely. The entire restaurant had gone silent. And through it all, my father didn't interrupt. He simply listened. Then, just as the weight of her final words settled in, he stood up. Calmly, he looked at her, not with anger or guilt, but something steadier. Then he spoke. He explained that the woman sitting there wasn't who she thought she was. She was the wife of his closest friend. Right on cue, a man stepped forward and gently took the woman's hand, confirming it. The tension in the room shifted instantly. Confusion replaced anger on my mother's face. The story she had believed just seconds ago began to fall apart. But my father didn't stop there. He looked at her and quietly repeated her words about giving everything, about love and time, and then asked her to think about them again. Because, according to him, he hadn't felt any of that in months. He spoke softly, but every word carried weight. He talked about how he had tried, how he had asked her to spend time together, to reconnect, but she had always been too busy. Work had taken priority over everything else. At first, he understood, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Eventually, he felt invisible. He admitted that he had started acting differently on purpose, becoming distant, pretending to be occupied, hoping she would notice. But she never did. That was when the truth became clear. This entire situation had been planned, not to hurt her, but to make her feel what he had been feeling all along. To show her what it was like to be overlooked, to feel replaced without actually being replaced. My mother's expression changed completely. The anger faded, replaced by realization. And then guilt. Tears streamed down her face as she admitted she hadn't seen it. She thought she was working hard for their future, not realizing she was losing the present. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she stepped closer, her voice breaking as she apologized, not just for that night, but for everything she had missed. He looked at her for a long time before his expression finally softened. He told her he never wanted to hurt her. He just wanted her back. That was the moment everything shifted. She reached for his hand, and this time he held it. It was such a small gesture, but it carried everything: the pain, the distance, the love that had never truly disappeared. The tension in the restaurant dissolved. People quietly returned to their own conversations, giving them space. And I just sat there, watching it all unfold. I had walked into that night expecting something ordinary. Instead, I witnessed something powerful. Not a relationship ending, but one being saved. Because sometimes love doesn't disappear. It just gets buried under everything else. And sometimes it takes a moment like that to bring it back to the surface.